scariest this evening, Julien?
It's the end of the year. It's beautiful. Christmas was fantastic. I'm just about to head to the New Year party in a few days' time. I mean, what more can you ask for, right? That's perfect. We're ending
It's perfect.
2021, looking forward to 2022.
It's great. Wrapping up the year. And
What about you?
it similar. I don't know if you can see the extra couple pounds I got from all the food. A lot of family and all that. So happy for that. And you and I talked offline a little bit and thought, why don't we do kind of the traditional New Year's? When I grew up listening to pop top radio, it'd be like the greatest hits of the year. And instead of a more traditional show, let's pick out a couple of themes, and each of us have different areas that we've kind of had pain points around, and we can in some cases there may be some follow-up stories that we have, or just sharing, wow, how is this for you?
Like
And I'm
wrapping
gonna
up the year.
yeah, just kind of a wrap up of the year. And to test this out and see how it's going to work, I'm going to start and give you one,
Okay.
which is one of the themes you definitely had this year was trouble with deliveries. You had packages left, packages in the rain, and so maybe just highlight a little bit of some of those experiences. And I don't know if you've had any more or any follow on, or if you feel like there was any closure.
Isn't the whole purpose of Christmas and New Year to revive like good memories? Why do you have to bring that up? I mean, I barely have any good memory with deliveries. I mean, I had
Well,
that.
Okay, Julian, we agreed to do a therapy greatest hits.
That's
I
true.
don't think therapy greatest hits is going to be all the wonderful stuff that happened. I get a hunch you've got pain for me coming as well.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I probably do. Deliveries. Let me think. So I had this beautiful story of the delivery guy who did not want to ring on the door and leave my parcel in the water while raining, and just not doing anything about it. I had that other fantastic story where they would not deliver my parcel, and I had to call so many people and send emails to figure it out, and it took hours to just find out.
And
Sorry,
that
go
one,
ahead.
it wasn't even what I remember is one of the core issues was the delivery company was not the company you did business to. And in at least one case, it didn't matter who you talked to, how you tried to get the delivery company got no status. So you had to go back to the original vendor, and they didn't do much, but they did something.
They did something. The original vendor did something. Absolutely. The delivery company did nothing about it. And then I had that other story. I don't remember the details now, but I had that other story where I did not actually order anything. There was a friend sending me a gift through parcel, and the delivery company could not care less and could not get a hold of them, and it took forever to get it delivered to my home. And oh my God, why did you have to bring delivery up? I mean, this is an ongoing theme. I mean, did you bring up anything this year about delivery yourself? Oh, you did. You did last year, actually. The was it for Thanksgiving? You had that double
Oh, the two
delivery of your
turkeys.
order.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. Now I feel your pain, feeling pain when we don't want to feel pain. That's right. I got the two turkeys delivered, and they're just like, no, you ordered it. Sorry, right here. And it was a confusing website, and yeah.
But so, what did we
But we
learn
did
from all
have
these things?
turkey for Easter that year. So this year, so we found a use for it eventually.
But I think there was an ongoing theme with this. It's very much a lack of ownership from vendors when it comes to delivering.
Yes.
And we've uncovered through every story that if you sell anything and you deliver it, whether it's a third party or you deliver it yourself, does not matter. You owe your end customer to provide perfect customer experience throughout until the parcel arrives in their home. And that's a big lack for most of the experiences we've had, right?
Yes, I agree. The last mile is still a mile on this overall. So yeah,
And we had another one, I think. We had also another piece that was important throughout all these stories, which was ranking, which is now you can rank anything. You can grade anything from your food delivery to your dates to your movies to your restaurants. You can rank anything. You cannot do rating for the postman. And how is that possible? Because that's probably the first thing you would like to rate anytime that they put your parcel in the rain, or they just put, this very
Yeah.
nice coupon saying, "Hey, you were not here." Dude, I was here. You just didn't ring.
Yeah. Yeah. You could knock. There's a
Exactly.
doorbell.
But I can I can return the favor because delivery was a theme. Travel
Yes.
was a theme. Travel was like your main theme throughout the year.
I had some travel, and I had travel stories, good and bad.
But you've been
So
bribing people all around the world to get
yeah,
sweets. So
that's the first. It's kind of funny. I'm not sure these were actually back to back 2 days, but they might have been a year or two apart. But my experiences in New York, where I wanted a nice room because my wife was with me in this hotel that I love, and the guy at the desk said, "Yeah, give me a big old tip. I'll get you the room you want." And this was one of the more interesting, our personal differences, and I think company cultural differences, where I was kind of like, "Hey, I got what I wanted," and if I was the owner of that hotel and I found out and I hear this and I realize it's me, I'm gonna fire that guy. But for me, I thought it was a good experience. And you were like, "Oh my God, that's the worst. How could you possibly do that?"
yeah, well,
Um,
you enjoyed the whole bribery piece. Personally, my good travel story was about a guy who actually came to pick me up 20 kilometers away last minute because my car broke down, and the same night he actually gave me the keys to his car without asking for any deposit of any sort, and let me drive around so that my wife and I could enjoy dinner. That was my great story, and no bribery was involved.
that's true, and that is the ultimate positive travel story that we all dream of. Is, as I remember, it was like the hotel manager or owner's father. And it was
Exactly.
just, you were literally, they brought you into their family for a couple of days, and that, you can't do better than that. I seem to remember one of your two life and death travel stories was actually the catalyst for needing a car, because you had a car just literally, the I guess it was a rent a car, or maybe it was a repair on your car. I can't remember which now. And they just kind of didn't do things like screw the wheels back on, or
That
maybe.
was actually a second-hand car, and they pride themselves by telling you how well they took care of the car after they got it from the original owner, and they fixed everything, and they actually screwed it up in good times because they almost killed us. We could not control the car, we could not brake anymore, but lucky for us, it happened when we were at 30 kilometers per hour, which is what 10, 15
Yeah,
miles an
yeah,
hour,
pretty
I guess,
slow,
something like that.
pretty slow.
But if it had happened on the highway, we'd be dead. So yeah, that's okay. Okay, fair enough. I have some bad travel story as well. But you had the time
Yeah,
where you were supposed to get to a plane, and they keep moving the time, and they tell you to go to bed, and they book a hotel for you, if I recall. And suddenly at 3 a.m. in the morning, they call you, but you're sleeping, and or that was an email. I don't remember that.
yeah,
You had
it was it, yeah, they didn't book the hotel. I booked the hotel. But what happened was, I got up at, I think it was 4 for a 6 a.m. flight, and I looked and I had received a text saying your flight is delayed 4 hours. And I didn't think twice. I took 2 of those hours and slept them. And then I got up, and all of a sudden I was getting texts from them, and so I got up, I double checked, it's flight still 4 hours delayed or whatever it was. And all of a sudden I'm getting texts from them saying, "You're not at the airport. You're supposed to be checking in. You're late." I'm like, so I tweeted and said, "Hey, you're telling me it's 4 hours late. And now you're telling me, why aren't I here?" "Oh, I'm not," and at this point I was in line at the airport, and I'm like, "I'm not here because it's 4 hours." And they're like, "Oh, but we could suddenly say, oh, never mind, on the 4 hours late, we're leaving." And it's kind of like, and I guess, that's not specific to any airline. They just, when a flight's delayed, they have the right to say, "Oh, never mind, we're not delayed anymore."
But
That's pretty.
conflicting information is terrible from
Yes,
it.
horribly conflicting information. And fortunately, I took the parts I wanted and ignored the parts I didn't. So that worked out pretty well for me as a result. Well, and I got one quick one for me, and then I want to hit the other one for you that was pretty close to life and death. Was the after the hotel experience when I went to get a cab to the airport, and I get in, and the cabbie says, "Where are you going?" And I said, and pardon, I'm gonna speak French here. And the cabbie, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to JFK." And she goes, "Fuck!" And I was like, "I'll get another cab. Don't worry about it." And she's like, "No, get in." I'm like, all right. And it turned out like
You
this
know,
was her last fare of the day. And she was, she wanted the one that was like, take me 3 blocks down the street and I'll be good. And then she can go home. And all of a sudden I'm sending her, an hour away and then another hour back. And she apologized so profusely and was so friendly. I actually, even though the cab ride started that way, by the end of it, she was my friend, and I was like giving her a big tip, and it was just like ended up being a positive experience.
Actually, I didn't tell you that day, but I had a very similar experience in Beijing. My Mandarin was pretty terrible at the time. It's worse today. And then I got my whole family. We were visiting China. We got in that taxi, and basically we tell her as well as we could that we're going to the airport to return to Hong Kong. And she asked me for my hotel address. I don't really understand why, but I give her the hotel address anyway because I was happy that I could understand something. She actually brought us back to the hotel. I said, no, we go to the airport. And then she said, yeah, but that's not on my road. Find another taxi. And then she dropped us at the hotel, refused to listen to anything we had to say. But she was not rude. Or maybe she was. I just could not understand the words she was saying. But yeah, taxi,
Well,
that's another fun experience.
Beijing is where you broke your leg saving a baby's life, if I remember.
Well, there are two ways to look at it. I almost killed the baby or saved the baby. You can look at it both ways.
I choose the latter.
My wife tend to say I almost killed the baby. But yes, Beijing airport. That was a fun story as well. I mean, the fact that I hurt myself was a thing. But it was first because the airport was incredibly dirty. The floor was slippery. Second, it was because you just did not have enough time to move from one gate to the other, so you had to run.
You had to run.
On top, for whatever reason, I mean, the US kind of does it too also, but why do you force me to check out my luggage and check it in again? Why can't you just move it from one plane to the other?
Yeah, international, the worst for that I've had is Heathrow. I had like a 3-hour layover. I was like, we're great. And we barely made the flight.
Yeah. And Beijing is exactly that. But the worst part of it was they just did not want to bother. So they kind of wrapped my foot in some basic tape that you would use for your garden stuff. And they put me on the flight for, what was it, 12, 13 hours without any upgrade of any sort. Absolutely terrible customer service. And if it had not been China, I would probably have sued, which is something I would never do. But this one was worth it. But you just don't want to go with the Chinese government. So, the airport being public.
You're not going to win that.
You don't get there. That's untouchable. Pretty terrible experience. But still, at least that was not my fault on that day, which I had that travel story where I got the hotel owner to cry. I had some learnings from this one. You probably need to be more careful and try to book direct, which is, it's always good to learn from your own behavior.
Good advice across the board.
So a lot of travel stories. I mean, you had tons of travel stories, which is funny because last year or this year, however you want to look at it, was a COVID year still. So I don't know how the heck you managed to travel that much, but there were old stories.
Most of these were older stories. The longest business trip in 2021 for me was driving from Sunnyvale to San Francisco. Personal travel, but no business travel at all.
But that was probably shorter than the time you spent on the phone trying to get through government agencies, right? Because working with government is another theme that we've had throughout the year.
I knew you were going to bring this one up at some point. Yeah,
Have you paid your taxes yet?
so as of this point, um, I am still waiting for a decision. Yeah, I had a situation with the IRS, the taxes here, where I did the electronic payment that they push very heavily. Oh, do electronic payment, do electronic payment, do electronic payment, and I transferred money into the account, and they went for the money before it had posted. And my fault, fair, I get it, but without getting into numbers, the bill I got for that was just insane. It was just massive dollars. And so, okay, well, the only option you have is to call, which wouldn't make you happy.
No,
Um,
definitely not.
and getting to an agent was so bad, I actually programmed my phone to get around the IVR and do it, because it was just key after key after key to get through. I had to wait generally over an hour to get to the first tier of agents. It was inconsistent. Sometimes the first tier of agent would take ownership and see what they could do to help. Other times they had to transfer me to the other group. That was another hour plus wait. And I had situations where I waited 2.5 hours and got cut off. I had a situation where I finally got to the person who could help me and was helping me, and the call dropped. And I still don't know what happened with that. And then later I got somebody who looked at what that guy did, and he was like, or that person was like, I don't know what he's doing. I can't do that. I don't know what that was. I'm like, well, can I talk to him? No, you're not allowed. I had the guy's name, I had the guy's ID number, but I wasn't allowed to be transferred to him. And it was
I,
just true. So then finally it came down to, here's how you can file this other kind of complaint. And I filled in a bunch of paperwork, uh, mailed it, registered letter to the IRS, got proof that I got it. After about a month, I finally called and waited another hour plus to find out it's going to be another month or two until you get your answer. Ironically, that day, I didn't check the mail, because in the mail was a letter from the IRS saying it'll be another month. So could have saved myself that call. But
uh,
honestly, that is the most nightmare
but
customer service experience I've had.
I can feel it, because there is the same anger and frustration when you tell us that story again. But that's an ongoing theme. The good thing about it is, I think we've discovered the best loyalty program in the world,
Yes.
because there's no way out, and you keep calling again and again. So this is probably something for other businesses to learn from. If you want to keep your customers forever, treat them like you don't care in any way. Or is it the other way around? Can't seem to remember.
Well, yeah, if you want to, well, yeah, if you need, what you need is the absolute true total monopoly to allow you to treat your customers as if you don't care. So run a prison. All your customers are,
They can't even protest. That's the best part of it. But and there was, I mean, we had literally lots of government stories, but there was an ongoing theme. There was the fact that most of them were phone based, not just phone based, but without an alternative, with incredibly
yes,
long and painful IVRs that you could not skip. You had to, and you could learn them, but you would still have some kind of transfer at some point that you could not trick the system in any way. You had to go through it. There is an ongoing theme of something I love. They all love paper.
right,
I don't know
right.
why, but they do
And
love paper.
I had to, yeah, in this case, I had to send a whole bunch of stuff you had to do. And it always, for you, it would always fall down to signatures.
Oh God, signatures. How can we still consider in 2021 that signature is something that is a proof of anything? Like really? And or they would ask me to get the official copy of a document. While honestly, how could you tell that this is the official
Right,
copy? It's not.
right. There's no, yeah, and no, there's no getting out of that.
So and no WhatsApp, not even email, no live chat, no. and incredibly long waiting line with no queue on how long that's going to
Right,
wait
right.
before they get
No
back to you.
expectations set, or in my case, expectations were set, but they were never met. It
And
was 30 to 45 minutes was an hour and a half.
but I think you nailed it. If you're a government agency or if you have the monopoly, probably you can do it, hoping that that's never going to change. But if you are not in that situation, try to avoid anything which is named out there, because that's never going to work for your business. It's guaranteed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, what do you think? Wrapped up the year? Feel like we're ready for 22?
I'm not sure I'm feeling any better after this session, actually. It sounds like it has been a shitty year all over, but
Well,
some
yeah,
good
there were a
learnings.
few good stories mixed in, but yeah, I mean, you don't go to therapy I mean, sometimes we go to therapy to talk about something good, but for the most part, we're sharing pain. That's
Do,
what we're about here.
do you feel 2022 is going to be a customer experience year? Because I've heard it for the past 15 years. So is it going to be a customer experience year?
This is going to be the year of the customer,
Is
for
it?
sure. And
I think
I
that's going to
think
be
by the
me.
end of this year, we'll prove that it wasn't, and we'll have optimism for 23.
That's going to be a therapy year. I guarantee that. So I see you next year, Max. Thank you so much for everything you've done in the past 12 months, for all your stories, for all your knowledge, for all your sharing. And I will see you in January.
Well, and I'll see you as well. And thank you. I don't know that I'd have gotten through the year without being able to come to you and cry on your couch. So thanks so much, Julien.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone who's watching. Bye.
Bye.